Hey, welcome back to the OC20. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Seth.
The OC20 is our mini-series where we rewatch and break down the early 2000s teen drama, The OC. Over the next 5 weeks, Seth and I will be discussing season 3.
This is my first time watching the show.
Yes, and this is like my millionth rewatch. This season, we're talking behind-the-scenes tea, who Seth thinks is the undisputed MVP, the new faces shaking up the cast, and of course, the iconic finale that everyone remembers.
Don't forget my favorite storyline this season, Sandy Cohen becoming Caleb Nickel.
Right. That is insane. I'm still processing that.
Also, quick warning, there will be spoilers. Like, everything is spoiled. So if you haven't watched season 3, go binge it and then come back. I watched this in 2 days. You can do it too.
All right, let's dive in. Seth, hello.
Michelle, what's going on?
Can you believe it? We've reached season 3. I honestly can't believe it. I didn't know if we were going to make it this year. I'm going to be honest with you.
You know what's crazy?
What?
I'm watching the show close to the same way that you watched it all the way back then. Once a year, you know? It's not like I'm binging all 4 seasons all at once. I'm waiting entire years in between learning what happens next.
That's true, but you are binging the episodes
Well,
in a matter of like 2 days.
This one was a little... This was more like 4 days.
Okay, all right.
Because I thought I had 2 days, and so I really started hitting it. And then you were like, oh no, it doesn't need to be done until this date. And I was like, all right, cool. Let me pump the brakes a bit.
Seth works best under a deadline.
I do. I love a deadline.
Yeah. So I figured we're going to start off this season of our little mini series here with just explaining to you behind the scenes of season 3, because there's so much, and it might change your perspective of the show. I'm not sure. I actually don't really know how you felt about this season. And over the next 5 weeks, we're going to discuss Marissa and the new characters and Sandy Cohen because you liked his story for some reason.
Yes.
And so we got some good stuff coming, but I just wanted to have an overall overview.
Please. Yeah. Because I do not look up anything about the OC. And if I'm scrolling on social media and I even catch like a hint that it's OC related, I scroll so fast because I'm like, nope, I'm doing it for the show.
Yeah.
I can't learn.
Yeah.
So I know nothing about season 3 and like the behind the scenes.
Which is so exciting. And like you didn't even know the huge thing. And the fact that now you know about Marissa, I feel like I can breathe. Anything else you find out moving forward, it's okay.
Right. Yeah. Well, Marissa has been in some pretty wild situations before. So with this one, not to jump too far ahead.
Sure.
I was kind of like, all right, well, she'll wake up.
Right. Okay. Well, so we end season 2. Marissa shoots Trey. Iconic. Perfect.
Yep.
We open with season 3. Trey isn't dead.
Trey is alive. He wakes up.
And he leaves.
What
did you think about that? Like opening, did you think Trey was dead?
I don't think that I thought that he was dead, but I thought that it would be more important than it was this season.
Yeah.
My notes for episode 1, I was like, it feels like episode 1 just kind of wipes the slate clean a little bit. Kind of like in season 2, how, at the end of season 1, Seth like leaves on a boat. It's like, oh my God. But then first episode of season 2, it's like, he's back.
Right.
So in this one, it's like, oh my God, Marissa shot someone. He's alive. And he's just going to leave town.
And that's fine.
So it was like, oh, well, okay. And obviously there's a lot of like ramifications for that. And they're dealing with her getting kicked out of school. So it's not like there's nothing that comes of it. I just thought that Trey would maybe be more like Logan Marshall Green. They just didn't want to keep his storyline going. Like,
wow.
Okay.
All right.
Hit me. Yes.
Okay. So the info I'm going to share with you, pretty much all of this research comes from the book written by Alan Sepinwall, Josh Schwartz, and Stephanie Savage It's called Welcome to the OC, the Oral History. And so I watched this series in real time, tried to research everything I could every single year on a rewatch, right? And there's only so much info you can get that's out
Right.
there. And
Right.
then this book comes out along with Melinda Clark and Rachel Bilson's podcast, Welcome to the OC Bitches.
Yes.
Finally, we like pull back the curtain and our questions are being answered. So, between network interference and poor storytelling and actors being unhappy and the creators being very unhappy and stressed out, this led to like a very embarrassing season across the board.
Okay.
So, in late of season 2, okay, towards the end, Gail Berman, stay with me here, okay? Gail Berman, she's the head of Fox. She leaves to take over Paramount Pictures, which is like, that's a big dill pickle.
Sure, of course.
It's huge. However, this meant that the OC lost their biggest ally.
Yeah.
So Fox hires Peter Liguori, who previously turned FX into a huge success with dramas like The Shield and Nip Tuck.
Yes.
So on Fox at the time, they had Prison Break, 24, football. All of this is working, but it feels very action heavy. It's very male driven. Overheard was that this was now considered the NASCAR network.
Okay.
Not a network for teens, which is weird to me, and I'm sure at the time for Schwartz and Savage, because like if you look at the history of Fox, you have The Simpsons, you have Married
Right.
with Children, you had 90210. Like it's in their
Right.
DNA for this network to have a show like The OC.
Yeah, Fox, as I understand it, because Fox comes out after you have the legendary numbered stations,
Right.
ABC and NBC, and then Fox was like a new channel, and they put in a lot of weirdo stuff.
Yeah.
And like that was kind of their lane.
Yeah, I mean, like think about like cartoons for adults. So
Right.
you also had King of the Hill on that
Right.
network, but also maybe that was like geared toward the male audience.
Yeah.
So the ratings were fine, especially towards the end of season 2. That finale definitely brought them up.
Right.
But notes from the network came through and said, you need to produce broader storylines. You need to produce promotable elements in order to stay on the air.
Okay.
So this turned into the writer's room scrambling and trying to make a show and write promotable elements. If Seth
What
was
does that
going,
even mean?
so if Seth is going to smoke weed, something better burn down from it.
Okay. But you had like a whole season of that bit. Like it's not like there's payoffs throughout,
Totally.
Yeah.
And the network kept saying, hey, you need to be more like Desperate Housewives. You need murder. You need affairs. You need more adult characters and adult storylines.
See, that's very weird to me to hear, because season 1 had Julie and Luke
Yeah.
dating.
Yeah.
And I feel like there were more adults in previous years than this one. Like think about it. Jimmy's gone, Caleb is gone. We get Matt, but Matt's like 25, he's like halfway to being one of the kids.
Right. I mean, but then they're trying to supplement with bad additions in terms of adults. So like they kill Caleb because okay, that's a promotable element and
Yeah.
that was like bound to happen.
Yeah.
Jimmy leaves because they're like, we don't really know what to do with you, so we'll bring you back, but then we're gonna have you beat up and you kind of abandon ship again.
Yeah.
It's a mess. And then to add fuel to the fire, the network moves the OC's time slot from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Thursdays, which is the most competitive time slot. This was up against Grey's Anatomy and CSI.
So why, if they didn't like fully believe in the show, why would you put it at a time slot that is hyper competitive? Wouldn't you move it to a time slot where no one's watching?
You would think. But again, there's like miscommunication and people don't care. And so it's like setting them up to fail.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. All right. So Marissa dressing up like a London schoolgirl makes a little bit more sense.
Interesting that that's
Well, you
your
you said desperate
example.
housewives and
Okay.
murder and activities, and this is like, oh, we're gonna tie this guy to a chair, and where that like that whole mini storyline comes out of nowhere
Yeah.
and resolves itself within one episode. So that seems like, okay, that's something for the previews that we can put on, and people are like, whoa, what's happening here?
Sure. Sure. The other thing to keep in mind, Josh Schwartz, he's one of the youngest showrunners of all time.
Wow.
He turns 29 during the production of season 3.
Okay.
So in the beginning in season 1, he's so close with the cast. He's
Yeah.
more so a friend of theirs. They would party together. They're hanging out. And then at this point a shift has occurred.
Hmm.
And so it got to a point where he would hide from the actors because he
Oh
couldn't
no.
deal with them. The actors were so unhappy with the storylines. Josh was very unhappy with how everything was going. He would just hide. The actors didn't want him on set. They said you're not allowed to come to the season 3 filming finale
Why?
because of the choice to kill Marissa.
No. No
I'm not
way.
kidding you. I'm not kidding you. There's a video that played during the season 3 wrap party of Schwartz under a desk and saying, "Is it over yet? Is it over yet?" And that video played and he did not attend the wrap party.
Wow.
So
Wow.
he just avoided as much as possible.
That's
And
horrible.
he talks about in the book how he realizes like this was very childish.
Yeah.
He regrets all of it. And if he just had conversations with his cast and kind of heard from them, like, how do you feel things are going?
Yeah.
Things could have been better. And Stephanie Savage also talks about this as well, of
Yeah.
how if she just was more mature, things
Sure.
could have been different.
Sure. Wow. So the actors were mad that they would kill off Marissa.
Well, I mean, down the line, at this point, the actors, minus Rachel and Melinda, so
Okay.
minus Summer and minus Julie
Julie.
Cooper, Sepinwall, the writer of this book, makes a point to say, like, anytime, generally speaking, people are talking about the actors as a whole, to exclude Melinda and Rachel because they never were really a problem.
Okay.
But Adam and Ben, at this point in season 3, they're in their mid 20s. I think Ben is in his later 20s. They don't want to play high schoolers. So,
Sure. Yeah. I understand that. Yeah.
yeah, they're just so frustrated by the storylines that they were given. And they're really annoyed that at this point in their careers, they have to turn down film roles because they're getting
Right.
offers left and right and they can't do them because they're in contract for this teen
Right.
series.
Right.
Yeah. And going back to Seth smoking weed, Adam's enthusiasm for Seth was so low. This led to him the storyline of Seth smoking weed just so it could match his energy level.
Wow. Wow.
Isn't that
That's horrible.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's insane to me. And then that led to like, okay, well, if Seth is going to smoke weed and he has like a pot addiction, quote unquote, we got to burn something down because that's
Sure.
the promotable element here that there's a fire happening.
Well, yeah. I mean, I can't imagine going back to 2003. I can't imagine a TV show about high school kids being like, Seth smokes pot and nothing comes of it. Like there has
Yeah.
to the teenagers in media have to be punished
Right.
for whatever they do, right? So makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, there's talks from other producers in this book and directors saying the cast, maybe they were checked out, but they did show up. Like they did know their lines and they did
Mm-hmm.
do their work at the end of the day, but maybe not in the most enthusiastic way. Tate Donovan, who played Jimmy, his character leaves, but then he directed season 3, episode 8. He was really optimistic. He's like, oh, I'll have no problem directing these kids. I'm one of them. They were completely awful. They frankly did not
No.
even give a shit and were really difficult.
Only for Tate?
I mean, for other, but like
Yeah.
they go back for it, but Tate specifically talked about the episode he directed and how they were really difficult.
That's pretty horrible. It was around episode 7 and 8 that I was like, oh, this is starting to get good. So that's funny to
Interesting.
hear. Yeah.
Okay. Bob DeLaurentis, he's the executive producer. He wasn't a part of the show from day one, so he wasn't a part of the pilot. He's a lot older than the cast, so he had to do a lot of the, I'll say, dirty work of talking
Mhm.
to the cast because Schwartz and Savage couldn't deal because they were always hiding. Bob was the one who had to have the talk with Misha and her mom about the decision to kill her character. If Schwartz just, had the courage and was adult about it, things would have went on a little bit differently.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Do we know if Marissa's death was always the plan at the end, or did that come throughout the season?
It wasn't always the plan.
Oh, well. Oh, okay.
Yeah, the network told them you have to kill someone and it has to be a main character.
Okay.
And Adam wanted to leave, Ben wanted to leave, and Misha wanted to leave. But they were like, we can't kill Seth and we can't kill Ryan because the show is Ryan and Seth.
Correct.
And if we kill Marissa, she already wants to go. And the internet, all of the forums influenced Savage and Schwartz because people would write about how they disliked Marissa so much. But really, they were just commenting on maybe the decision she made and her looks, which is awful.
Yeah, that's horrible.
And
Yeah.
one of the headlines after she died on the show was a twig snapped.
Oh, that's horrible.
Isn't that terrible?
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah, the early 2000s was
You know who I would kill?
disgusting. Who would you kill?
Do you want to guess?
I mean, Johnny.
Of those three. Of those no. Of those three. Seth, Ryan, and Marissa.
Seth?
Yes.
Yeah. But if you killed Seth, everybody loves Seth. You can't
I would have
can't kill
killed Seth and I would have made it Ryan's fault.
Oh, that is dark.
I know. So then everyone has to deal with like, do we actually accept this guy who came into our family, and do we act, you know what I mean? Like everything that had happened over the 3 seasons would have been like called into question. Ryan himself. Yeah, it would have been real dark, but that's what I would have done.
That's a different show.
Well,
that rewrites the whole narrative. When Adam found out that Marissa was going to die and Misha's leaving, he's like, why couldn't it have been me?
Yeah.
Yeah. They really were unhappy at this point. And then on top of all of this, as I keep saying, because it's just like let's just like layer on another item, production, even though the writing is so bad, we're rushed for storylines. Everything was shot so fast. So there's just like a really high pressure to produce what they felt was bad storylines.
Yeah. Well, I guess okay. So can I say I didn't think that this season was like horrible, and I mean this is me just watching this for the first time, not watching it live and having the conversations with everybody. There were parts of this season that I very much do not like, and I really was confused as to why they did them. But then there were parts of the season that I really did like.
There were definitely bright spots for sure. For sure. If you think about season 1, that was lightning in a bottle. And it's hard to recreate that. And they punched so much into season 1 where those storylines could have been stretched out.
Right.
Also, there's so much in season 2. And then when you have like a 20-something plus season, we don't have seasons of television like that anymore.
No. I think this is like 4 episodes too many. 3. If you do a 22 episode season 3 of the OC, I think it would be a lot better.
Yeah.
Just condense some of the stuff, remove a few of the things that didn't make any sense. Yeah. But I had a good time watching this season. I don't know. I don't know if you were expecting me to come in and be like, this was the worst season.
Well, I don't. I didn't think that. And again, we have one more season to go.
Yeah.
Which is only 16 episodes. And you asked me what was it, last weekend? Like, did they know this was their last season?
Right.
And at the time, they didn't.
Okay.
They didn't think so. They were just like, keep, like, we need those promotable elements. And so then they kill Marissa. The ratings were really good for
Yeah.
that. Misha, she does an interview before this episode airs and tells the press that her character dies.
No way. So did you guys know that ahead of time?
I refused to believe it. I
Right.
refused to believe it. I was like, this must be like a publicity stunt.
Right.
I watched that finale live with my best friend Amy in my room, and I could not believe what just happened. I go online right away. I'm on the forums. I'm like, is this true? Did they really just do this? Killing Marissa was not well received at all. At all.
Well, I guess I should wait too, but I like a show with stakes, and I think stories should end. I think people should graduate high school and people should move on. And when you have a show that, like, forgive the pun, but when you have a show that plays with fire and guns as often as they do,
Yeah.
like when your core four just keep escaping trouble and keep ending up at the diner, eventually you as the audience stop caring because you know that Batman's going to make it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I like that they did it. I don't necessarily like that it was Marissa. I don't love the way that it happened, but yeah, it's a story. People die.
It Yeah, and the way they rationalized it too was it was kind of inevitable that Marissa was probably going to die. I mean, she had a tragic story from the beginning.
Absolutely.
Always
Absolutely.
needed saving,
Yeah.
and they felt that Ryan could never move forward if she still existed. Like if they literally wrote her off into the sunset, right?
Yeah.
She goes on the boat with Jimmy. We don't hear from her again. In the OC realm and world, there's still a chance that Ryan and Marissa could be together.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
If Marissa's dead, there's no way Ryan and Marissa can ever be together.
Right.
And this was the logic.
Sure.
So
It makes sense. Yeah.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess so. Do you have any questions? That was like a very like I know that seemed long, but it was like a too long didn't read of the chapters that they talk about in the book.
How about the actors who are playing Sandy and Kirsten? Were they like over it? Were they like, I don't want to do that?
They were just confused. Kelly Rowan, who plays Kirsten, she's like, at one point, Kirsten's cooking. She's like, what are we
I
doing
didn't like
here?
Kirsten cooking. I didn't like that because that's part of her character and charm. And for it to also just kind of happen and then be pushed aside and kind of forgotten, I also
Yeah.
didn't like that. Like that needs to go somewhere. That needs to become something. If Kirsten and Julie decide to do like a catering company instead of a dating company, then that's something where it can go. But part of the whole Noopsy thing is Kirsten is a mom who doesn't cook.
Right. Right.
And at the time on sitcoms and TV, that wasn't always the case. So, it's part of her character. That whole Kirsten and the woman from rehab, and I was like,
Charlotte.
oh man, I'm not loving this.
Yeah, that was their way to kind of add in some spice, a little desperate housewife, if you
Right.
will.
Right.
And then the inclusion of the new characters, which we're going to have a whole episode on. But that quickly they realized like Savage and Schwartz write heavily about how much they regret Johnny.
Good. They should.
Yeah, I mean, it was such a mess, and it's not the actor who played Johnny's fault, but
Yeah.
he wasn't the Johnny that they were picturing.
Okay. Interesting.
And also the idea of writing like the Bizarro Harbor.
Yes.
So really trying to recreate this new high school, that was a mess. And again, it's just like a spiral effect of like we don't know what to do, we don't know where to go. We have lost our intent. We
Mm-hmm.
have lost the tone.
Mm-hmm.
We are spiraling.
Right. I would have started this season with Marissa going to prison.
They did talk about that.
Yeah.
Her in like an orange jumpsuit, and
She
let's
should have,
see
yeah, she
what
should have gone to
happens there.
prison.
But then they're like, is this really our show?
I don't know, but to me, that's the natural order of what happens when you shoot somebody.
Sure.
And so
Yeah.
Marissa, goes to prison. Sandy's got to work on her case. And so now it's all free Marissa, which they kind of do, but it's just like about getting her back in high school.
Right.
So I think you could have done all that and leaned into it. And then Trey sticks around for a little bit while because there's a trial and he's a witness. And then you could have built all that towards Trey confessing on the witness stand and clearing her name. And you know what I mean? Like, that's 7 episodes right there.
And depending, it's like, where does the audience like that idea? Is that promotable? The network's just like slamming notes, like, oh, we need more, we need
Sure,
more.
because you've got Marissa in jail. So now Marissa has a roommate, and then they're talking, and you meet all these other characters, and
Yeah, but then they also talked about, like, we realized really at the time the audience only cared about the core four.
yeah,
So every episode of Marissa dealing with Johnny, and then Johnny dies, and we're still dealing with Johnny.
right,
And it's like Johnny doesn't end, and the audience was like, we don't care about Johnny. We don't care about these other people. Can we please go back to our core four?
yes, I agree. And towards the end of this season, I was like, oh my god, Kirsten and Ryan are having a conversation alone for the first time this season, I think. And I was like, yes, this is great. This is the good stuff, right? This is what we
Yeah,
want. I mean, season 2 had all the comic stuff.
I know. I
They were able to
know.
invent some things for them to do beyond like outside influence and
Yeah,
circumstance.
yeah.
So revive Seth's storyline of boating. And so you make what's his name? Volchek a rival boat guy. I don't know.
There's all these
But
storylines
give
are
Seth
so
something to
much
do.
better.
Like give Seth something to do.
Yeah,
And so much of it is built on college.
which
Who's
is
going to what
natural.
college? It is. It is. Who's going to what college? Are you going to get into college? Which college are we going to? But it's like there's not enough really there. So much so that you have Seth miss his college interview. That's 30 minutes of one episode. Is Seth sitting there being Seth, telling his life story.
Mhm,
You know what I mean? Like you have a
mhm.
flashback episode. Everybody loves those, right?
Yeah. No, hey, listen, I know. And then, they bring Samir back, who plays Anna,
Mm-hmm.
and she talks about in the book how she was, like, really checked out. So,
Wow. I have a lot of thoughts on Anna coming back.
well, again, we are pulling at straws. We are seriously trying all of the things, and between actors being burned out, they talk about how in season 3, Misha only had 6 days off in the year.
Oh my God.
Because between filming, then she did all this promotional work, so she's constantly flying around. It, like, tired her out, and she
No
wanted to go to
way.
college. So, like, she's done,
Yeah.
donezo.
Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, you say, "Hey, this is our last year. What are the four of them going to do? What do they want to do together before they all go their separate ways?" So maybe they all get jobs together. Maybe they all I don't know, something.
Yeah.
But put them together. Put them together. And so much of the storylines in this movie was separating them. So like Ryan and Volchek and Marissa. So now it's just Marissa off with this other guy. And then Ryan and no, Seth and Summer fighting and breaking up. So now they're separate. It's like I don't know. That's probably like apart from Johnny, that's probably my biggest complaint is that when they're all together or when two of them are together interacting, it's like, yes, this is good. And this is the chemistry that we all like and want. Why are
Yeah.
we not getting it?
Exactly. So jumping ship a little bit,
Yeah.
if you guys remember, if you listened to our season 1 recap and season 2, Seth is a movie guy. And
Yes.
Seth notices all the movie references and pop culture references that I maybe subconsciously noticed, but don't
Yes.
go over my head. So, Seth, what did you notice this season or what stuck out to you the most?
Yes. So this season is the lightest in terms of pop culture references.
Okay.
There are some really good ones, but maybe Adam Brody backing off of his passion of being Seth lends to them not having Seth be Seth this season. Maybe it's the seriousness of some of the storylines, but there's almost no reference to comics,
I
which is
know.
crazy.
Because it's so heavy in
It's
season 1 and
so
season 2.
heavy in season 1 and 2. I mean, Atomic County, I think obviously that's what Seth uses to get into the school, and we see the standees, but there's like almost no reference to that either.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, that's a bummer. Anyway, let's see here. What do I got? Well, first of all, most of the episodes, like maybe every episode except for 3 or 4, are named after movies.
Mhm.
So when I saw that, I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be great. We're gonna be talking about movies a lot more." And I was like, "No, no, no, we're not at all."
Bummer, man.
Uh, Towards the beginning of the season, Seth makes a book packet for Kirsten. He includes a book by Chuck Klosterman, and he includes a graphic novel that I read and loved in high school. And I've actually bought multiple copies, and I love it so much that I let people borrow it, and I just let them keep it.
That's your Seth starter pack?
It would be, yeah, yeah, for sure.
Wow.
It's this graphic novel called Blankets by Craig Thompson, and I've read a few different Craig Thompson graphic novels. Awesome stuff. Blankets especially is really really awesome. So I was like, okay, all right, they know what they're doing.
Mhm.
And then some of the movies that are referenced, we know that Seth really likes kung fu and martial arts movies. They also make Taylor like martial arts movies. Yes.
Yeah, we'll get into her this season, but
hmm
yes. Yes, yes, yes.
So in one of the episodes, the core four are at the diner and they're talking about the movie Master of the Flying Guillotine.
Mhm.
It is a very classic martial arts film. And then the girls start talking about Bring It On, and they want to
Mhm.
watch Bring It On instead, which is also a good movie. A really odd choice to include when Taylor and her mom show up to the fundraiser, and her mom is like, "Oh, you brought this gift. You should give it to him." And Taylor's all embarrassed. She gives Seth a copy of a movie called Yakuza Demon by the director Takashi Miike. He, I don't know who I can compare him to in American movies, but he makes bizarre films. He's also quite prolific. Like he'll
Mm.
put out 2 or 3 movies every year, and he's a big name in Japanese filmmaking. But I guess okay, so I guess the closest equivalent that I can think of for like an American director or like movie would be like if Taylor gave Seth a copy of Human Centipede at this fundraiser.
Oh,
Like that, not that he makes exactly those movies, but that's how odd of a choice. It's very weird to bring that movie to
okay.
right. So you might be like, oh, oh, Taylor brought him a Japanese movie. No, 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 no. This is a Takashi Miike movie. That is another level of
Wow.
Japanese film.
Wow, okay.
Taylor also asks, I can't remember who she asks, if it's Seth or if it's Summer. And she asks them to come over and watch the Decalogue. Now, I don't know. I don't know like how to compare this also to something that people might be familiar with within their own whatever subgenre you fall into, or fandom you fall into. But like the Decalogue is kind of like a touchstone for cinephiles of like a highfalutin, important, capital F film. It is a 10-part miniseries that Kosowski made for Polish TV that's like roughly based on the Ten Commandments. So yeah, I get like this would be like if you were talking to a fan of like the Boston Red Sox and they referenced, like they were wearing a jersey of one of their left outfielders from like 1971 or something. Like it's a really deep cut, but for cinephiles, it's kind of like it's like a funny like haha, yeah, that's like a pretentious.
Okay, so when this happened and you hear it,
Oh
were
my
you like, because you texted me,
my
you're like,
brain blew up.
about that, and I was like, I don't know what that means, and I don't know if that's good or bad.
That's what's so funny to me about this whole thing is like you've seen this show so many times. Like how would you never just stop and be like, what is that?
You're right.
With the
You're right.
movie stuff.
Yeah, some stuff I've done, or sometimes I'm just like, it's Taylor. That's what Taylor's into. You just use like context clues. Like
But
this
I
is
texted you
what
and
it
I said,
is.
of all of the shows that you picked to be like your favorite show of all time,
Yeah.
it's the one show that's dropping a reference to Krzysztof Kieslowski's Decalogue.
Yeah.
That's absolutely insane to me.
Plus, if I did my own research, then I wouldn't have you to share it with me.
Yeah, I would say like of all of the movie references up to this point over all 3 seasons, this is like maybe the nerdiest, except for the super niche kung fu movie that I had to research for like 2 hours last season to find the name of.
Yeah.
Like steam came out of my ears when I heard this.
This makes me want you to watch my other teen dramas in my world, like One Tree Hill. PLL. Friday Night Lights probably doesn't have it.
Yeah.
Gossip Girl, because I'm curious of what you would pick up on. However, I feel like they are not layered with deep cuts like
Well,
this.
Pretty Little Liars, that's a show that I have seen several seasons of, and I've come on your show to talk about. That is really full of movie references,
Yeah.
as well, and like good stuff too.
Yeah.
But this does make me curious. I'm like, wow, does every teen show do this? Because I've only got 2 to reference, and so far they really do.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, Caitlin is watching the all-time classic drive-in B movie, Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, which I thought was kind of funny for her character. Her character is a little more B movie, B story, pulpy. So I thought that was kind of an interesting thing for her to be watching.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We also talk about Sharon Stone, Basic Instinct. We talk about Verhoeven. Verhoeven's a really important director. He did RoboCop, Showgirls, Starship Troopers. Verhoeven's a really good director. He's not American, but he makes movies that are just cutting indictments of like American institutions and mindsets. Yeah. A really big obvious one obviously is Volchek has never seen Sound of Music, and then he rents The Sound of Music, and that is like pivotal in their relationship because she describes how like watching this movie informed what she believed she deserves in her love life. And even though she was a child, she still maintains that that's what she wants from a movie, and Volchek wants her, and so he goes to watch the movie. I hate this because I hate Volchek and I hate Marissa with him. Mm-hmm. But this is very funny to me coming from people who clearly have a love for film, and they're expressing like, yes, film does like shape your outlook on life, and a way to understand people that you care about is to watch the movies that are important to them.
Yeah.
So
Very true.
we get like, we see that.
Yeah.
Now, if a guy like Volchek watches your favorite movie, you still need to run in the opposite direction.
Well, yeah. That's not the free pass.
Seth at one point mentions when he thinks that he's showing up for film club, which I thought was really funny. And I thought that Adam Brody played that off very funny. He mentions that he brought A History of Violence, which is a David Cronenberg film. Cronenberg is one of the most important directors of the last 50 years, Canadian director, who also makes really incredible films that are commentary on, you know, what life is like living in this modern world with modern technology. He's awesome. He also made the Fly remake, which the main character's name is Seth.
Oh my gosh.
There you
Look
go.
at this
Anyway,
full circle.
and then later on they mention Akira, Ghost in the Shell, and the Blade trilogy. And watching all three of the Blade trilogy in one night is not, I wouldn't recommend anyone do that.
Why?
That's just too much Blade and vampires.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're
Okay.
not all great movies, but yeah. So yeah, that's about it. There might be like a few other little things here and there, but pretty crazy.
Yeah. Deeper cuts.
Yeah.
With this.
Also, Taylor mentions the Criterion Collection. During that little exchange between Seth and Taylor, all of the titles, like she mentions a poster that's on his wall, all of those titles are fake. You know, they're all made up. I think they mentioned whatever movie they mentioned is definitely a stand-in for the movie Battle Royale.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, which is basically Hunger Games before there was Hunger Games. Even though Suzanne Collins will say Battle Royale was not an inspiration to Hunger Games, it's about a class of high school kids who have to kill each other.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah.
Well, thanks, Seth. Thanks for taking note of all those references. I always enjoy it. Like, this is my favorite part of doing the OC with you because you bring up all this stuff. And I think our listeners really appreciate it too, because I don't know how many of our listeners are picking up on all these references.
Yeah.
So for me, who's seen this series so many times, there's always something to learn.
That's right. Thank you for doing all the research and sharing all the info. I feel like you're carrying me in your arms away from a truck that just fell down a hill.
As hallelujah, plays. Thank you so much for listening to the OC20, a Movie Friends miniseries produced by Michelle Rubenstein and Seth Vargas. If you like what you just heard, please consider subscribing and leaving us a review. For more information about the show and what else we do, you can check out our website at moviefriendspodcast.com.